guys, what is up? Redmaster here, and welcome back to another Hidden Combos. This week I am excited because I find that this combo has actually been working very well, and it is, or what I'm calling it is, Oppressive Monsters. Now, this deck works to utilize a connection between monsters in general, things like King Crab, Kraken, Behemoth or Colossus, and then you have Kargrom. Kargrom is the newest Warlock legend that, of course, will, I just have to remember, subtract 2 attack from all units on the field except itself. So, the deck does have a lot of units in it, I'm not going to lie, it's mostly all units. But its main points are getting your Colossus and your Behemoth up, so that they have enough power to survive taking damage from, how do you say, the Kargrom, if that makes sense. I know that's sort of like weirdly worded, but it's kind of what I'm going for in the deck. So, judging by what my opponent's been playing the past couple turns, I assume that I'm going to be seeing a Knight deck. That's alright. We should be able to handle Knights. I mean, depending on if you can take out this Behemoth, or which he should. Good man, good man. Followed up by a Crumbling Archive, and oh boy, another Shield Knight. Alright. So, let's see if I can pull a 0 gold. I'm gonna try and go a bit risky here. 0 gold. Damn it. Alright. Well, that's another 2 free damage to him. Hopefully he uses that wisely. We'll see. Off to a rocky start here, but I think we're not in too much trouble. We try to get some of our other monsters rolling. I do have Minotaur in here, so if he throws something a bit farther out, maybe I could clear off a bit. He doesn't have a Luminar's capability yet, which is good. Okay, so Reckless is going to trade with Nulk here. That's perfectly fine. Okay, he's doing a bit of indirect power-up. Actually, no, this is good. So, actually, no, it's not good. Shit. You know what? We're going to have to do it anyway. So, we'll throw out Kaijir, use the Colossus, get a bit of attack going, and then send this Minotaur out to trade with the Witch, but really survive, not really trade. So, we do draw the Kargrom, which is excellent, great for what we need. Maybe we can start playing that soon, hopefully. I do want to get more monsters on the field and power up this Colossus before I take a big chunk of Colossus' attack away. At that rate, I'd nearly take half of it. Spitefish comes out. That's going to trade with our Minotaur there, and that'll do an additional 2 to the base. Followed up by a Furnace Knight. Okay, so we're going to have to deal with that. And the way we deal with that, before I start spitting out nonsense, is punch it in the face. That's how you deal with all of your issues. Punch them in the face. So, I'm thinking about playing the Kargrom next turn. It'll definitely start... Ooh. Okay, no, I think we can handle that. We can handle that. Yeah, we definitely... Oh, shit. Actually, no, you know what? We can handle that. Oh, Disintegrate. Perfect. Goodbye, Dora Knight. Hello, Serpent Witch Part Dose. And we're going to position this Kaijir for an assault on that stables. If we didn't draw that Disintegrate, we might have had to give him another unit, so. He's going to play his Minotaur now. Okay, smart. You do your thing. So, yeah, I'm thinking we're going to throw out maybe Kargrom next turn. Yeah, we're going to throw out Kargrom. Actually, you know what? Let's deal base damage first. And then say I'm going to trade there. Zap. And bring out Cargrim. So now Cargrim's going to be a big nuisance. And the fact that we do have Kraken in our hand could also possibly save us. If he tries to block off, you know, he kills a Serpent Witch and then blocks, we can use Kraken to take out whatever he has and position a Cargrim to crack his whip right on that base. Garden Knight comes out. Oh, that's going to heal it. Oh, and yep, he's going to plant his... plant right in front of it. You don't care. Didn't kill the, okay, so he has to... You know what? We are going to murder that Garden Knight. Destroy one of his stables. Crack Cargrim's whip. And bring out a Primordial there. The Primordial's aura will still activate. Again, not really affected by Cargrim's -2 attack, because he has no attack to begin with. Reckless Knight, and then I'm assuming, yep, the Luminaris combo. That's completely fine. Big boys can survive that. In fact, we're going to plant one right there. We're going to plant another Cargrim running up, so that way it's got even less attack. And of course we destroy that stable, so... pretty much the game here at this point, unless he starts healing his castle like mad. But even then, it'll take attention away from the big boys coming at him. Zealous, alright. You're going to kill off the Primordial. And you have another Primordial. Do you have a heal? No heal, so that's the game. Didn't pull the Kraken, but that's okay. It looks like we didn't need it. And that is the game. So, normally I would have a second game here, but I do have something a little different for you guys. I'm going to show you a ranked match from earlier in the day. So, but before we hit that, let's hit up the deck list. Just so you can see what I'm working with here, or what I chose to include. So, starting off, we do have Merchant's Favor here. Merchant's Favor I like in this deck because it can definitely give you the edge you need if you want to pull out a Kraken earlier, a Crab earlier. If you want to get some other guys out, more guys out at once, I would say Merchant's Favor is definitely a good card. And I didn't go with Robins because, you know, Robin, I'm already working with a 7-drop here, and having 2 of them in the deck would kind of seem a bit iffy, so that's why I went with 2 Merchant's Favors. Next we get Disintegrate. Disintegrate is probably one of the most useful Warlock spells come out of the expansion. I think it's great. As you saw, it dealt with the Door Knight, so we didn't have to give him another unit. That's basically it. Just really early removal or early control. Nothing too big there. Books, because Warlock Pirate, as it is, it doesn't really have draw, so Falling Books is really your only source of draw here, aside from Onslaught. But I didn't include Onslaught in the deck, so it's really just Books giving you the draw power here. Colossus I kept at 2, mostly because they are a bit... they're a bit stale. I mean, not in the sense that they're completely useless, but, I mean, I do... Actually, this deck... He is one of the most important parts of the deck next to Moth and Cargrim because, he, you know, like I said, the gaining attack is what's important here. If a unit can constantly gain attack, subtracting its attack won't ultimately hurt you in the end. So that's why I only include 2 though, because I don't really want 3. I think 2 is enough. If you want to experiment with 3 and 2, you know, Colossus at 3, Moth at 2, go ahead. Manfish, because this is a monster deck and he is probably the earliest monster that comes out, so I definitely run him. Moth, because it's the same argument as Colossus. He is the powerhouse of the deck. He is going to be the one that keeps gaining attack, even when Cargrim's out in the field, so with that, you are not really losing attack, you can only gain. So Kaijir, because Kaijir is adorable. No, I'm just kidding. Well, he is adorable, but he is, of course, a monster, and he is basically one of the auto-includes if you are running a monster deck, so that's why I have him in there. Primordial Flame I have in here as well, because if you're running Kargrim, Aura is not bad to have, and in this case I went with the Primordial Flame because it's earlier. It's definitely one of the most damaging next to White Knight, and again, his attack isn't really affected by Kargrim because he's already got 0 attack to start with. Next we have King Crab. I only run 2 because King Crab is a bit, I wouldn't say difficult, but he can definitely be tricky to run because he is at 7 attack, so we can remove stuff that you'll find earlier on, maybe big buff stuff. But again, I kind of bring up the same argument that I do with everything else, nearly everything else in this deck. If you pull out Kargrim, he's only going to go down to 5, and 5 is still a very good attack for someone at 4 gold. I mean, I'm just going to check here. If you look up here, Fencer has 5 attack, Gravestalker has 6, Santa has 5. Yeah, he's one of the big guys you want to keep. Well, Serpent Witch, but yeah, King Crab is probably the biggest attack out of the 4 drops, and of course he's a monster, so it wouldn't hurt to throw him in there. Ajira, because Ajira fits in all monster decks. Her ability to give both players 2 monsters is pretty great. You know, it powers up your guys, and it forces your opponent to inadvertently power up either your Colossus or Moth, or lower your Kraken, so always include the Ajira. Serpent Witch I have in here because she works wonderfully with the Kargrim. Her burn is what can pretty much keep her unaffected in a sense by Kargrim. She'll still do 3 damage when he's out in the field, so I think she works wonderfully in this sort of deck. Murder, because you want to stop Kraxus. Swordsman, because you want to stop Swarm. You know, these 2 have just kind of come to auto-include in the deck, more or less, because of the rising popularity of those 2 types. I think, you know, it's definitely important. And we saw we use a Murder instead of Kraken to kill off that Garden Knight, so didn't really pull a Swordsman that game, but, you know, I always keep him for the Eternal Darkness clears. Main guy of the deck, Kargrim the Oppressor. As you saw, his ability of -2 attack can definitely throw off opponents. They sometimes aren't ready for that, and it gives you, in a sense, the upper hand because you're going to be more prepared when he comes out. Arcanon I have in here because 2 reasons. One, he's an excellent trader. He's an instant shooting killer. He is a spell. He messes with spells. He is just a great all-around guy, and I've come to add him in a lot of decks. This one no different. And of course Kraken, because of the fact that you're going to need him if you're running Kargrim, because he'll be put at 8 attack when Oppressor comes out, which still gives a lot of clearing potential. So that's pretty much the deck here. Again, I keep these at 2 and 2 to even them out. So yeah, that's a deck list, and I think I'll bring you guys right to the video, or the Cards.tv match. So enjoy that. Alright, so here is the TV match. I think this is definitely a great demonstrator of how Kargrim, or the Oppressive monster, really can throw off an opponent and what he's planning. So we start off with the Colossus, as you can see, planted a little behind the castle. That'll be used to power. That will be powered up. Excuse me, later on. The Kaijir comes out. It's going to indirectly power up Colossus and of course block the Imp. The Imp will get 1 damage off on the castle. That's no problem. opponent will throw in Flux, and you can see how right now our hand is looking pretty promising. We just drew Cargrim, so that will come into play later on. Now in comes the Moth. He'll be powered up by any monsters I throw out, and the Colossus again is also powered up by Moth's appearance. So Frozen Storm doesn't really affect me too much. As you see, I'm gonna bring out Nalakir here, and that Nalakir is gonna give me a Serpent Witch and a Manfish. Do those rhyme? It doesn't matter. I'll use Manfish and Nalakir to block off the opposing forces here. And of course, that Manfish is going to give a buff to Colossus and Moth, very important. The Flux is going to take out the Manfish with an assist from Fury of Battle, but I'll be able to take that out with what I've got in my hand and on the field, so I'm not really concerned there. I could have brought out Primordial, so I didn't have to waste this Manfish, but I think Manfish was the better choice here, as you could see, because I'm going to also bring out the Witch and the second Manfish, so that'll give more buffs to my guys, so they're ready when Cargrim comes out. If the math is done, he would have been reduced to a 4/6. The Colossus would just got bounced back to my hand, and the Behemothra would be brought down to a 6. So right now, before I throw out Cargrim, I'm gonna of course kill off one skeleton with the Manfish, so his attack isn't wasted. Cargrim comes out, the Witch is gonna kill off one of the skeletons, the Kaijir is gonna weaken another one. Cargrim's gonna push up. Now I pushed up because I didn't think my opponent would be ready to deal with Cargrim yet, and clearly he wasn't by the way he retaliated here. In comes the Swordsman now. The Swordsman got me a little worried, but I did have a murder, so I wasn't really all that terrified. So I murdered the Swordsman to get that out of the way. I'm going to Serpent Witch the Flame Prince. Cargrim's going to crack his whip right in the castle there. And of course, before Moth attacks, he's going to get an extra buff from Kaijir, so he doesn't really lose any health, in a sense. So you can really see how Moth is sort of unaffected by Cargrim's ability, in a sense. So Serpent Witch comes out. He's in a Fury of Battle it as well, which will take out my Cargrim, but that indirectly gave Moth a boost. So 10-10's going to come out of his castle. Kaijir is going to kill the Serpent Witch. And of course, see what I did here? I played Cargrim after I attacked with Behemothra, so that 2 attack wasn't wasted, and now he's got to deal with an 8-10 while dealing with a Cargrim behind him. So that forced my opponent to surrender, and you really saw how in that match Moth wasn't affected by the -2 attack, which makes this deck so deadly. If things get powered up, if things start getting really scary, Cargrim's only going to make it worse for your opponent to deal with, because they've just lost attack on their own units, which may not be prepared as it is to take out a big bulky Colossus or Behemothra. So that was Oppressive Monsters. That was definitely this week's deck. I really enjoyed playing it, and I hope you guys do too, since Monsters, I have a nice history with them. But anyway, that's not the point. If you guys did enjoy the deck, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and comment down below your thoughts on the deck. And until next time, guys, stay gaming.